Hello everybody, I am going to be discussing the paper 13 Physiological Biophysics. The module is module number 33, Pathophysiology of Stress. I am Dr. Asmita Patil and I am faculty at All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. Now to begin with the topic, we must first know what are the objectives when we talk about the pathophysiology of stress. Number 1, should be able to define stress. Then you should be able to understand the various health issues which are associated with stress. Number 3, you should be able to differentiate between stressors and stress responses. Number 4, should be able to enlist the different stress induced psychophysiological disorders. And number 5, should be able to enumerate some methods for effective stress management. Now, we begin with the introduction starting from the historical aspects of stress. Now, the French physiologist Claude Bernard, he described what is called as the concept of milieu interior. Milieu means the environment and interior is the internal environment of the body, and he said that the internal environment of the body is maintained at dynamic equilibrium. Now, the neurologist Walter Cannon, he coined the term homeostasis to further define what is a dynamic equilibrium. That is the concept that the stressors can be emotional as well as physical, and that they are constantly changing. He described the fight or flight response, which we shall be discussing further in the slides. Now, Hans Selye, he discussed what is the body's stress response system, and he said that it is because of stimulation of pituitary gland. He introduced the concept of GAS, that is the General Adaptation Syndrome, and he discussed what are the various aspects of the General Adaptation Syndrome. Now, why should I know about stress? How the stress affects my body? How do I know if I have the stress, and what can I do about it? These are very important questions that any person in normal life will ask you. Now, the causes of stress can be various, and these causes of stress are called as stressors. They can be external, that is the major changes which are occurring in life, at work or school, difficulties in relationship, problems with money, constraints of time, family problems, or they can be something which is internal to a person, that is a chronic worry kind of situation, pessimism, a negativity or negative self-talk, rigid thinking, problems with attitude, unrealistic expectations or perfectionism. Now, what are acute stressors and chronic stressors? Acute stressors are the stressors which are causing acute stress. So, they are sudden, they are short-lived events. For example, if you have to go up on stage, or if there is a immediate physical threat. What is chronic stress? Chronic stress is something which is an ongoing demand. For example, a divorce, bereavement, excessive workload. Then we can talk about the personal factors which are affecting, for example, the stress appraisal, the intellectual aspects of a person, motivational, the personality, the beliefs of a person. Now, we can ask a question, why should I know about stress? We should know about stress because many of the health problems are caused or exacerbated, that means exaggerated by stress, like generalized body pain, heart diseases, indigestion, gastritis, constipation, sleep disorders, depression, mood fluctuations, feeling suddenly happy, suddenly sad, problems in weight, excessive weight or underweight, autoimmune diseases, allergic reactions, various skin problems like eczema, acne, dermatitis. There are various diseases which are also related to stress. These diseases are high blood pressure, hypertension, stroke, coronary artery disease, peptic ulcer, chronic headache, chronic backache, allergies, rheumatoid arthritis, then drugs or abuse of alcohol, and the person can even go into depression and social withdrawal. Now we come to the topic of definition of stress. How do you define stress? Now stress is a change in environmental conditions that demands a behavioral alteration. Is it good? Is it bad? Well, it can be either. Whatever change which induces a stress response is stress. In fact, stress is not what happens to you, but how you react to what is happening to you. It is a series of neural and chemical reactions which are actually meant for physical survival. So, is it good for you? Now, Dr. George S. Everly, he is the co-founder and chairman emeritus of the International Critical Incident Stress Foundation. What does he say about stress? He says that to understand the stress response, what we must understand is that it is a process, a fundamental knowledge not only of the psychology but also of physiology. So it goes hand in hand, the understanding of the psychology of a person and the changes which are occurring in the body, that is the body functions, which is physiology. So the psychophysiology, that is the body, versus the physiological reaction to perceive stressors is a mind-body phenomenon, and this response can be classified as negative stress or distress, or positive stress and eustress. So you have distress and eustress depending on the body's reaction. Now we discuss the general adaptation syndrome, which has been described by Hans Selye. It has got 3 stages. The stage 1 is the stage of alarm, 2 of resistance, and 3 of the exhaustion. Now, whenever there is a perceived stressor, there is a alarm or the stage of alarm, which is an immediate reaction, the reaction of fight or flight. Next comes the stage of resistance, when the arousal is high and the body tries to defend and adapt to the stressor. Next is the stage of exhaustion, poor resistance to the disease, collapse, and even death can occur. Now, with chronic stress response or the general adaptation syndrome, the alarm states that the body's initial response is because of the release of the hormones, the cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and what these hormones do is that they increase the energy available to the body, they increase cardiac output and the mean arterial pressure, they suppress the immune system and reduce pain. So it is good but only for a short time. Next comes the stage of resistance. If chronic stressor or the chronic stress response persists, then there occurs a establishment of a new set point, which is called as allostasis. Thereafter, what happens is the stage of exhaustion. When the energy stores get depleted, the myocardium gets fatigued and there is infection. Now, the physiological systems which are initiating the stress response are essentially the nervous system and the endocrine system. In the nervous system, the important nerve fibers or the neuronal systems involved are the autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic is essentially the rest and restoration, and sympathetic is for the fight or flight, the immediate reaction response. The sympathetic nervous system is responsible for the responses associated with the fight or flight response, and this physical arousal is stimulated through the release of catecholamines, epinephrine, adrenaline, norepinephrine, and they in fourth carry on the process of stress. The parasympathetic nervous system. This parasympathetic nervous system maintains what is called as homeostasis. Now, the homeostasis is maintained through the release of acetylcholine. This is responsible for the conservation of energy and for the relaxation of the body. Now, stress stimulates the sympathetic autonomic nervous system, and further on there is improvisation in the circulation via cardiac stimulation and vasodilation. There is also an increase in serum glucose, breakdown of liver glycogen to glucose, and increase in plasma fatty acids, which are further a source of instant energy. The endorphins which are released, they decrease the sensation of pain. Now, coming to the CRH loop or the corticotropin releasing hormone. This hormone causes the release of adrenocorticotropic hormone and thereon the release of glucocorticoids. Glucocorticoids cause easy availability of energy, they decrease inflammation and immunity. These further help in the stress responses. Next, we will talk about the stress-illness relationship. Now, the stress-illness relationship, there is a pre-existing physiological or psychological vulnerability, and when there is exposure to stress, there occurs a response, a physiological and psychological wear and tear response which causes the illness. There are behavioral changes and efforts to cope with the stressor, and this results in the overt manifestation of a disease or illness, or there can be lifestyle changes which can in turn result in an illness. Now, what are the effects of chronic stress? Chronic stress can affect the skeletal muscle, heart, the digestive system, respiration, the brain, the skeletal system, that is the bones of our body, the hormones, the reproductive aspect of life. Now, what are the major systems which are affected by stress? The central nervous system, the immune system, which is the guard of our body, the cardiovascular system, the gastrointestinal system, and the musculoskeletal system, the skin, and the reproductive system. Now, how are each of these affected? Let's start with the effect on the immune system. Now, with stress, there is an initial enhancement of immunity. But what happens with prolonged stress? There is suppression of immunity. This immunity suppression causes flaring of the suppressed disease, and it can also predispose the individual to a new illness or infection. Now, in the cardiovascular system, there is a increase in blood pressure. So, many people become hypertensive, and there can be other cumulative effects along with the other systems. The gastrointestinal system effects include peptic ulcer disease, colitis, recurrent diarrhea and or constipation, inflammatory bowel disease, and changes in the appetitive behavior. In the skin, chronic stress can cause excessive perspiration or sweating, acne, that is pimples, and dermatitis. Now, the effects on the reproductive system in males is because of a decrease in the testosterone levels. Also, there may be a difficulty in achieving and maintaining an erection. Decrease in the sexual drive can result in impotency and premature ejaculation. The effects in females are essentially because of a decrease in the estrogen levels. This can result in menstrual irregularities, a decrease in sexual drive, infertility, and at times even miscarriage or recurrent abortions. Now, how can you manage stress? Managing stress is very simple. Avoid, alter, adapt, accept. Avoid unnecessary stress. Alter the situation. Adapt to the stressor and accept the stressor that cannot be changed. Now, when we talk about managing of stress, it is very important to strengthen the physical health by relaxation techniques like yoga, meditation, deep breathing, and also by exercise and maintaining a healthy diet. Exercise also release endorphins, which are the feel-good hormones. Regular sleep is very essential for combating stress. Also, there are various relaxation therapies available for management of stress. These therapies aim to either reduce the hyperarousal state or curb the emotional physiological reactivity. And they can be achieved by the progressive muscular relaxation, by mental imagery, by techniques of meditation, and by autogenic training. In severe cases, there can be treatment approaches like psychotherapy, medications, various drugs which can be prescribed, alternative treatments like hypnosis, acupressure, cognitive behavioral therapy, and so on. Now, we come to the summary of the topic. What is stress? Stress is a change in the environmental conditions that demands a behavioral alteration, which includes a series of neural and chemical reactions which are actually meant for the physical survival. Stressors can be internal or external, that is present in the environment, or they can be acute and chronic. The nervous system and the endocrine systems are mainly involved in the stress response generation. And of the nervous system, the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for the famous fight or flight response. The endocrine system acts via the adrenal hormones, the catecholamines and the glucocorticoids. And chronic stress affects various body systems and functions. This may in turn result in exacerbation of an underlying illness or even predispose to a new disease. Effective stress management. The modalities include lifestyle modifications, that is, medications and alternative treatments which are available.